The game is simple. Watch 100 films in a year. It's actually watch as many films in a year as possible, but 100 is a good benchmark to hit, it's a good goal to aim for. These can be new films, old films, in the cinema, at home, as long as you haven't seen them before. Rewatching does not count. Otherwise I would have hit 100 a long time ago. I'm looking at you, Crimson Peak. I don't care if the other kids don't like you, Crimson Peak. I think you're wonderful. Long TV episodes do not count. Sherlock, I'm looking at you. And if you leave before the film is over, it doesn't count. It's really not that difficult. I don't know why I'm explaining it like it's Moneyball, which is also another film that I haven't seen, so gotta get on that too. Watch the films. 2016 favourites included Captain America Civil War, Hunt for the Wilderpeople, and It Happened One Night. 2017's top watches included Moonlight, Baby Driver, The Shape of Water, and I feel the need to include something less mainstream so I look a bit cooler. La La Land. You can just like the things you like, it's not that deep. Anyway, both good years, at least as far as films are concerned. So, how did we do? 2016, 82, not bad. 2017, 76. Wait, isn't that lower? 2018, 100. Actually a little over 100 now, but who's counting? Oh yeah. Anyway, here are the top 10, and no. I really don't have any interest in reviewing films. Don't get me wrong, it's a really great practice, maybe even an art, depending on whom you ask or how you're doing it, and I certainly have my fair share of people that I love to watch and listen to. But I am so aware that I am having a personal experience with subjective material that assigning what feels like an objective value judgment on it just feels kinda off to me. Like everyone wants to know, is it good? And that feels like a loaded question. Like I don't want to be another person on the internet presenting my feelings as facts, especially when it comes to film. If I'm gonna take part in a conversation, especially an online conversation about someone's art, or really anything for that matter, I want that to be as productive as possible, or at least as healthy as possible. I don't know, maybe my mind will change about it later, but for now, please don't ask me for star ratings. I am just here for the feels. Okay, with that being said, how have the feels been this year? You spent a lot of time alone in a dark room crying at giant faces. What did you learn? First things first, don't be afraid to let a film surprise you. The film this year that I was most disappointed by, BAM! The film this year that I was most surprised by, bling! I don't know what sound effect that was. You're gonna have your own expectations based on promotional material, early reviews, sorry, can't seem to get through that one. Anyway, there are films that look like they are going to be good, and there are films that look like they are going to be Venom. But I do say that to make a point, because I actually know a lot of people who had a great time with Venom. I personally was not really one of them, but hey. So, when I say don't be afraid to let a film surprise you, I don't necessarily mean, oh, I thought that was gonna be not good, but then it was good. Although that is always a pleasant feeling, I am looking at you, Game Night. But more, I am ready to accept that this film is going to be a mix of stuff that connects with me and stuff that doesn't. While I will probably remember the film as a whole construct with an assigned positive or negative value, I am, in this moment, capable of, even prone to, seeing the parts of it that will resonate with me and enrich my movie-going experience, /life, /whatever. Did that make sense? Please let me know in the comments if that made sense. I assume that you already are if it didn't. Anyway, I know that's not going to get as many retweets as something that is 3 parts scathing and 1 part witty, but maybe next time you're readying your fingers to destroy something on the internet without very much insight added, maybe think about how you might have missed something worth talking about. So there's this scene in The House with the Clock on Its Walls where Cate Blanchett is talking about her experiences in the Holocaust. She never uses the word, but it's made pretty clear to any grown-ups in the audience. Anyway, what she says about loss and trauma and the way the film handles it is like this little gem in a very flawed movie, and it's not something that I saw really talked about. I found Jumanji 2 to be a pretty fun, if not formulaic adventure, and yet all of its character moments are focused on teen anxieties and self-image versus self-projection, which is pretty interesting for a film that features this.
Wait a second, where's my phone?
And yeah, I wish the movie surprised me more, but that doesn't mean that these moments shouldn't be celebrated, shouldn't be talked about. I mean, hell, we've already been going on about for just too long, way too long. Moving on, we're balancing this with when you hate a film, and you will, it usually has just as much to do with you as it does the film. For those of you who thought I'm just here to give every film a participation trophy, wait, hang on, that sounds adorable. I am doing that. And you get one, and you get one, and you... Okay, I ran out of trophies, so never mind. I'd say that of the 100 films that I saw this year, I genuinely really liked maybe half of them, and I had a pretty good time in about 2/3 of them. And there are a few that I just flat out didn't like. So are we gonna name and shame? That's someone's art, bro. Be cool. But there are so many different reasons for not enjoying a film that I think we miss out on in favor of a binary response. Thing good, thing bad, yeah, fine, but more than anything, thing unique. So put the work in, tell us what you really felt. And I think that in identifying these reasons, we learn more about ourselves, which is always helpful, even when it's not fun. I watched a film this year that left me seething, reeling, ranting all the way home to anyone who would listen. But it was only when I stopped and looked inwards that I realized the film wasn't bad, I just disagreed with it. And I disagreed with it, like, hard. But that's not the film's fault, it just kinda touched a nerve. Anyone wondering what the film was? It was Hotel Transylvania 3. I said it! Or even try this. When a film, for all intents and purposes, works, but it doesn't connect with you, there's a high chance it was just made for someone else. I get that this can be an unsatisfying experience, especially when a bunch of people are expecting something to be made for them, or an entry in a franchise that used to be for them maybe no longer is, or maybe it still is, but now it's just asking them to take a little step forward and examine why they love that thing in the first place, and if their devotion to it is really a health. Oh, we're not gonna get into that. Point is, it just wasn't for me is a perfectly reasonable thing to say. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. Moving on. Here are some other things that we should maybe consider saying more as people who watch movies. I don't really have a strong opinion on this. I'd rather hear what you have to say. This is clearly something that you feel passionately about, and I'll consider that while discussing it with you. I'm still thinking about this, so maybe I won't express my opinion yet. Wait, those are things we should just maybe say more as people in general. Hang on, I'm gonna find the... And finally. So at the end of First Man, an elderly gentleman stands up as soon as the credits start rolling, turns to the exiting crowd, and he exclaims, "But who took the photos of the astronauts on the moon? It doesn't make any sense!" Which is a pretty interesting way of expressing your concerns about one of the biggest events in history. But anyway, it did get me thinking, who actually did take the photos on the moon? So I looked it up, and the answer will blow your mind. It was both of them. Like, both of the astronauts on the moon just took photos of each other. Pretty underwhelming. In case you were wondering, I don't know why you would be, but the cameras they were using were actually Hasselblad ELs, medium format cameras that were heavily modified so that they could work in space without, like, catching fire and stuff. Anyway, before you know it, I was down an internet hole. So while looking into moon photography, because apparently that's just something I do now, I found this page. The astronaut who took this photo is the only man, alive or dead, that isn't in the frame of this picture. 1969. Oh, that doesn't count the people on the other side of the planet. You get the picture, or I guess you don't get the picture. Anyway, this is a weird idea that made me think about loneliness in like a completely new way. Like this man could have been experiencing feelings that no human ever could or ever would feel again. Imagine being the first of your kind, out there in the unknown, doing your part to make history, but knowing that you might not be so much as a page in it, whether you are successful or not. And not to put too fine a point on this, but can you tell me the third person on the Apollo 11 mission without looking it up? Michael Collins. This venture has been structured for 3 men, and I consider my third to be as necessary as either of the other 2. I don't mean to deny a feeling of solitude. It is there, reinforced by the fact that radio contact with the Earth abruptly cuts off at the instant I disappear behind the moon. I am alone now, truly alone, and absolutely isolated from any known life. I am it. If a count were taken, the score would be 3 billion plus 2 over on the other side of the moon, and 1 plus God knows what on this side. He wrote that while Neil and Buzz went off and took photos and made history and littered, unsure if they were ever going to come back, if he would be the only survivor. And I know First Man isn't even about Michael, but it is about isolation and the feeling that you are too small in a world that feels too big. It's about trauma and how the need to reach out to others is most difficult when it is most needed. And I'd love to say that it suddenly hit me like some big, beautiful revelation, but that's not true. I'm saying this because I need to remember it, because I need to tell myself we are all so damn breakable. And we need to be more careful. That little marble in the photo, yeah, we all have to share that, and I am well aware of the degree to which that can suck sometimes. But we have to find ways to truly communicate and empathize, because I do not know what the alternative is. Hey, here's a sentence you don't hear enough. Life is long. It is. I am only 21, but this is the longest thing I've ever done. And maybe when it's all done, it will have been over way too soon, but right now I'm supposed to fill my time with as much something as possible, and I'm still trying to figure out what that is. Because here's the thing about First Man and Jumanji 2 and Hotel Transylvania 3 and Hasselblad cameras and Michael Collins and the way the surface of the Thames at night looks like hands folding in on each other, and how that thought would be cool and poetic if it weren't so goddamn terrifying. None of these experiences matter if we are not using them to be kinder to each other, and that's not always going to be easy. I'm not here to be a role model. Again, I'm on level 21 of this thing, and I'm still trying to figure out what the hell it even is. But if I am going to do this, and by this I mean life, I am going to try and do it well. I watched over 100 films this year, and one day I will make them. There are always more stories to be a part of. I am Sam. That was some stuff. I will see you